My fiancé said, "I'm going to fix this." I replied, "You already lost me the day you cheated." Then I called off our engagement, had the ring refunded, packed my things, moved to a new city, and I just watched as her office affair blew up her reputation, career, and family forever too. AF Tales is back with another story. This one is about a man whose engagement party turns into the moment he discovers his fiancée has been cheating on him for 6 months, thanks to her own sister. As you listen, think about the exact point where you would have walked away. I am 32 years old, a civil engineer who works on commercial construction projects across the Midwest. My name does not really matter here. What matters is what happened on the night that was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I had been with Ashley for 4 years. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue. I fell hard. I did what I thought you are supposed to do. I showed up, I was loyal, I saved for a ring. I planned a proposal on a weekend trip to the Smoky Mountains. I got down on one knee at sunset with a valley view behind us. She said yes. Her family liked me. My family liked her. We talked about venues, colors, dates. It all looked solid from the outside. Our engagement party was set for Saturday, September 16th at Ashley's parents' house. They have a beautiful place with a big backyard, string lights, nice catering from a popular Italian restaurant. About 70 people came. Friends, family, co-workers. I wore a navy suit Ashley had picked out. She wore a cream dress that made her eyes stand out. By early evening, I was doing the usual rounds, shaking hands, thanking people for coming, pretending my face did not hurt from smiling. Ashley's younger sister, Brooke, had been helping set up earlier, but I had not seen much of her during the party. She is 24, a dental hygienist, quiet and polite. In 4 years, we had only had surface-level conversations. Around 7:15, I was near the back porch talking to my buddy Connor about the Packers game when someone grabbed my arm hard. I turned and saw Brooke. Her mascara was streaked, her eyes red and swollen like she had been crying for a long time. "I need to talk to you," she whispered. "Please, right now." Connor raised his eyebrows and backed away. I looked around for Ashley but did not see her. I asked Brooke what was wrong. She just shook her head and tugged me toward the side of the house, away from the crowd, into the darker area where people could not really see us. Her hand was shaking. "I am so sorry," she said, barely getting the words out. "I should have told you months ago. I should have said something, but I was scared and I did not know what to do." I asked her what she was talking about. She reached into her small purse, pulled out her phone, tapped a few times with trembling fingers, then pushed it into my hand and closed my fingers around it. "Just look at the photos," she said. "I am so sorry." Then she turned and ran back toward the party, weaving through groups of people, disappearing into the house. I stood there holding her phone, confused and starting to feel something heavy in my chest. I looked down at the screen. The gallery was open. The first image made my stomach drop. It was Ashley, my fiancé, kissing a man I did not know, not a quick kiss. A full, pressed against the wall, hands in his hair kind of kiss. I could see part of his face. I did not recognize him. I swiped to the next photo. Same guy. Same day based on her yellow sundress. They were walking together, his arm around her waist. Next photo, them getting into a car. Next, sitting too close at a restaurant, her hand on his thigh. I started swiping faster. Different outfits, different days. Weeks of photos, maybe months. Ashley laughing with him. Ashley holding his hand. Ashley leaving what looked like a hotel. The last photo had a timestamp from 3 days earlier, September 13th. That was the night I had worked late on a project. Ashley had told me she was having dinner with her mom. In the photo, she was in a car, kissing the same man. His hand was on her neck. I could not breathe. I had to lean against the side of the house. The sounds of the party in the background felt far away and muffled. This is one of those moments where your life splits into before and after in a single second. That was when I heard Ashley's voice. "What is going on?" She was walking toward me fast, her face angry. Behind her, Brooke stood frozen near the porch, looking terrified. Ashley demanded to know why her sister was crying and why I was standing there with Brooke's phone. She asked what I had said to her. I could not answer. I just watched her. She shouted at me to answer. People were starting to turn and stare. Conversations died down. I did not say a word. I simply held out Brooke's phone and put it into Ashley's hand. She frowned and looked down at the screen. I watched her eyes move over the image, confusion, then recognition, then horror. The color drained from her face. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Tears started to fall fast. She looked at me with a desperate expression and whispered, "I can explain." But she did not explain. She just stood there, shaking and crying, holding her sister's phone in front of dozens of people who could tell something was very wrong. Then she turned around and walked away. She passed her parents. She passed my parents. She walked straight through the crowd and disappeared into the house. I stayed there, feeling like the ground had dropped away. My mom reached me first. She asked what had happened. I could not form words. I just walked past everyone, got in my car, and drove. That night I drove for about 3 hours. I did not go home. My phone rang over and over. Ashley, my parents. Ashley's parents, Connor. I ignored all of them. I ended up at a 24-hour diner off the interstate. I sat in a corner booth and stared at cold coffee. At 11:47, I got a text from Brooke. "I am staying at a friend's tonight. I am so sorry I ruined your party, but you deserve to know. She made me promise not to tell. She said it was over. She said she would end it, but I saw her with him again last week and I could not keep lying for her. I am so sorry." So Brooke had known. For months, she had kept the secret until she could not do it anymore. I texted back and asked who the guy was. She replied that his name was Brandon, that he worked at Ashley's office, and that it had been going on since March. 6 months. Half a year. Around 1:30 in the morning, Ashley called again. This time I answered. She begged me to come home. She said we needed to talk and that she needed to explain. I asked her what she wanted to explain. 6 months of cheating. She said it was not like that. She told me to come home and talk in person. I told her I was not coming home that night. She asked about tomorrow. She said she loved me, that she had made a mistake. I hung up. I slept in my car in the diner parking lot for a few hours, then drove to Connor's place at dawn. He opened the door, saw my face, and told me to come in without asking anything. I told him the whole story and showed him the texts from Brooke. He sat there stunned and then said what I had been thinking. 6 months of cheating, and she still had no problem standing in her parents' yard, smiling with a ring on her hand. The next day, Sunday, I finally went back to the apartment Ashley and I shared. She was still in her engagement party dress, makeup smeared, eyes swollen. It looked like she had been crying all night. She said she was glad I was home and asked me to sit down so she could explain. I told her to go ahead. She said it had started in March. She and Brandon had been assigned to a project together, working late. She said one night they kissed and she knew it was wrong. Then she said it happened again. And again. She claimed she tried to end it several times. I asked when exactly she tried to end it. She said she could not remember dates. I reminded her of the photos I had seen, including the one from 3 days before the engagement party, with them kissing in his car. I told her that did not look like ending things. She cried harder. She said she knew and that she was ashamed. She admitted they had slept together a few times. Then she said he did not mean anything, that I was the one she loved and wanted to marry. This is a hard truth a lot of people avoid. You can love someone and still treat them in a way that destroys the relationship. Love does not cancel actions. I told her to get out. She said it was her apartment too, that her name was on the lease. I told her to get her things and leave before I called the police. She stared at me like I was a stranger, then grabbed her purse and walked to the door. Before she left, she said she loved me and that she was going to fix this. My parents were supportive. Then she was gone. But asked if I was sure I wanted to end a 4-year relationship. Ashley called and texted constantly. People on the outside called me crying, what asking me to reconsider. Her dad called to apologize for her and to say he was ashamed of her choices. Brooke texted a few times to check on me. She told me she had moved out of her parents' house for a bit because Ashley had screamed at her for hours after the party, calling her a traitor and blaming her for everything. I finally agreed to meet Ashley for coffee on October 2nd. Not because I wanted to get back together, but because I wanted clarity. We met at a Starbucks near her office. She looked worn down, thinner with dark circles, her hair pulled back in a careless ponytail. She thanked me for coming and said she had been in therapy, trying to figure out why she did what she did. She said her therapist thought she had commitment issues and self-sabotaged because she was scared of marriage. I said that was convenient. She said she was not making excuses, only trying to understand herself. She told me she still loved me and begged for another chance. She said she would quit her job, move, do whatever it took. I told her I needed her to be honest about one thing. I asked if she had ever actually planned to stop seeing Brandon, or if her real plan was to marry me and keep him on the side. She looked down at her coffee and did not answer for a long time. Finally, she said she did not know. She said she had loved me but also felt something exciting with him and did not want to give it up, and that she had been confused. At least it was honest. I told her there was something she needed to know. I said I had the ring appraised and learned the diamond was insured. I had already returned it and gotten my $12,000 back. I told her I was using that money to move to a new place closer to my job site in a different city. Her face crumpled when she realized I was leaving. She asked me not to go. She said she could not lose me. I told her she already had. She stopped me as I stood up and said there was one more thing I should know. She told me Brandon was married. His wife had found out about the affair 2 weeks earlier, kicked him out, and he had lost his job. Now he was blaming Ashley, saying she had seduced him and ruined his life. I almost laughed. Instead, I just said they deserved each other and walked out. On my way to the car, I got a text from Brooke. She said Ashley had called her screaming about me moving away. She said she knew I probably did not want to talk to anyone in their family, but she wanted to thank me for being kind that night and to say sorry for everything. She said I deserved better. I told her she had done the right thing by telling me. She asked if I thought I would ever be able to trust anyone again. I stared at that question for a long time. I did not know. In early November, I moved to a smaller city. My new place was modest, but it was mine. No shared memories, no ghosts in the corners. I threw myself into work, putting in 60-hour weeks. I avoided social media. I did not date. I just lived and tried to heal. Around Thanksgiving, Connor came to visit. We went out for drinks and talked about random things. He said I seemed more like myself again. He told me he had heard that Ashley was telling people we were on a break and that I would come back after I cooled off. I shook my head. He said her family was still angry with her and that Brooke would not speak to her. He also said Brandon's wife had filed for divorce and was taking him to court and that he had moved back in with his parents. December was quiet. Christmas with my family felt strange but calmer. They tried to cheer me up. I could see the concern, but it did not bother me as much. On New Year's Eve, I got a text from Brooke. She wished me a happy new year and said she hoped the new year would be better for me, that I deserved happiness. I told her the same. She said she was moving to Portland in February for a fresh start and to get away from family drama. She asked if, someday, if I was ever in Portland, I might want to grab coffee as friends. She said no pressure, just that we both understood the mess in a way not many people did. I read it a few times. It felt honest and low pressure. I said I would like that. It has now been about 7 months since the engagement party. Ashley stopped contacting me in March. Last I heard, she moved to another state. I do not know where. I do not care. Brandon is divorced and lost his house in the settlement. From what I hear, he is living with his parents. Brooke and I still talk once in a while. We text every few weeks, share jokes, check in. She seems happy in Portland. She has started dating someone new who seems good for her. Me, I am okay. Not amazing, not broken, just somewhere in the middle, healing. I've had a few casual dates, but nothing serious yet. Some days I feel angry, some days sad. Most days I feel like a person with a scar that is still a bit tender but getting stronger. I think back to what Brooke asked me, will I ever trust anyone again? I still do not have a perfect answer. But I know this. I would rather rebuild trust the hard way than live in a fake version of love built on lies. Sometimes I replay that moment at the engagement party. Brooke pressing her phone into my hand. Part of me wonders what my life would look like if she had kept quiet. Maybe I would have married Ashley and lived in a long, slow lie. But the larger part of me knows it is better to have the truth that hurts than comfort built on a secret. I am 33 now, single, starting over. I do not know what the future holds, but at least what comes next will be based on reality, not on pretending. And in a twisted way, Ashley's sister saved my life by choosing honesty over silence. Here are some lessons from this story. Lesson 1. Cheating is not one mistake when it continues for months during an engagement. It is a pattern and a choice. Lesson 2. If someone can celebrate you in public while betraying you in private, believe their actions over their words. Lesson 3. Family pressure, sunk costs, and fear of starting over are never good reasons to marry someone you can no longer trust. Lesson 4. The person who tells you the hard truth, even late, is not your enemy. Sometimes they are the one who pulls you out of a lie. Lesson 5. You do not need to hear every apology or read every long message to move on. Some closure comes from your own decision to walk away. What would you have done after seeing those photos at your own engagement party? Would you have canceled everything and left like he did, or tried to work it out despite the 6-month soft lies?